Hello and welcome to the RWBY podcast. We are talking about Volume 5, Episode 2. Dread is in the air. I am what is left of Tien Shen Han's dignity, mediocrity 4.
Me, high-powered back. I'm wearing black because I'm in mourning for Sienna Khan. Another brown anime waifu amongst the dead, unfortunately. So there is that, but good episode. I enjoyed it.
And I am your basic bitch RWBY fan for this week because stuff happened and that made it a good episode. I am Dude, what the heck?
I am the White Knight. I am the Cold Steel. I'm just another Weiss summon, and I totally fucked that ship up. I'm Soxcalibur.
Soxcalibur.
And I am the Prince of all Saiyans. I am Robert.
I just finished Fate Zero. That was pretty good. Talking about Excalibur. That was pretty
Yeah,
good.
I've been catching up with Dragon Ball Super, and man, they just... Poor Tien.
Getting better.
Alright, so anyway, RWBY had an episode this week. That's what we're talking about, right?
They did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wait, you mean this wasn't a Dragon Ball Z podcast?
No,
I'm in the wrong channel.
not yet. Not yet.
I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Oh my goodness. I have no... if we ever do a Dragon Ball Z podcast, I don't even know where... We'd have to, chunk it out, at least through, 5 things.
We'd have to, start with Dragon Ball.
We would literally have to... No, we would just have to start at the
something.
most topical thing and just be like, okay, we're starting at Super. Done.
True.
Alright,
Yeah, possibly. So we're starting with what actually happened first, which is Lionheart, I think.
Yeah,
Yep.
so
Yeah,
we're just gonna-
quick bird's eye view. Quick
Bird's eye view.
Raven's panty shot eye view of this episode.
of this episode, yeah.
A Raven's
So-
eye. There you go.
So, Watts and Lionheart talk to the glorified Skype calling Grimm, which has a surprisingly good resolution and
Better than ours.
yeah,
Which means
better than our
which-
resolution and has even better connection.
So it's better than Skype then.
Yeah, I was totally wrong about the whole rope dart thing. I thought it was rope darts, but no, it's just tentacles with spikes.
I knew it was tentacles as soon as we saw the opening. I was like, oh, so that's what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, well, Watts can't stop to mess with Cinder. It's just oh, she's talking again.
That was the
Great.
best part of this
Yeah.
episode.
yeah, that was a good part.
Actually, it
We
wasn't,
also-
but we'll get to that.
We can.
We get Cinder and Salem talking about their evil plans. It also seems that Salem is enforcing her pimp hand 2 on Lionheart for what feels like no reason, but it's kind of like, it's like you're getting ahead of yourself there. Don't choke on your aspiration. It's T Rogue One reference. So,
And that is the worst part of that movie.
then it cuts to Adam murdering an innocent brown anime waifu in cold blood.
Innocent's
and
a
also,
strong word.
And high-powered speed
In
was
my-
bad.
yeah.
That moment was definitely not my dick out of 10.
And then Hazel turns out to be one of the better characters so far too. Also
Yeah.
props to Lionheart but props to Hazel.
Super props to Hazel. We'll get into that for sure.
Yeah.
Hazel was awesome.
And then we get Weiss fighting some wasps, civilian casualties, and now we have a hostage situation potentially. So, I mean, as long as it doesn't end in a Mexican standoff like an Inglourious Bastards, then we're good.
Oh man, Inglourious Bastards was so good. Christoph
But,
Waltz is a fucking mastermind.
All right, so we're actually gonna go pretty much in order, even though the Weiss segment's broken up into
Yeah.
2 parts.
It's one part, and then they do the stinger at the end. And
Yeah.
oh my god, I pun was not intended. I swear.
Sure it wasn't.
I wish I could call. I wish I could text Miles and Carrie and be like, what level of cliffhanger was this episode, and then show it on the screen, and then accidentally dox him because I give out his cell phone number on the podcast.
Yep.
Well, let's go
So-
with yeah, Lionheart's scene was still pretty cool. So
Yeah, so we get more good Lionheart acting. We also get very good Watts acting as Also,
No, Watts is dope. Watts is great.
So good.
I love his smug anime grin and that mustache that just impregnates women whenever they walk in within like a 50-yard radius of him.
It does. I gotta make sure
the baby comes, male or female, the baby comes out of the womb with a mustache.
Absolutely, 100%.
That's slightly
That's where
disturbing.
Josh came from. Yep.
I love how he takes every single opportunity he can possibly get to fuck with Cinder. And
I know, it's glorious.
It's great. It's exactly.
glorious.
So, my question is like, we kind of see why though, but I kind of wish we just get like a little bit more of it because he sees her as like a failure pretty much.
Oh yeah. And he's not without reason there though either. He's not completely wrong.
Yeah.
I don't think.
It's like Cinder completed the mission, but she failed to do the important optional side quest of the mission.
She's like Barry Bonds. She's got that asterisk there, whereas Watts so far has no asterisk. He's doing a great job.
So
that's the difference.
I like how also he pretty much handed her though the way to succeed in that mission. But yeah, if Cinder does end up turning good, one of the first things she does is to slap Watts.
Oh, of course.
I still think that Watts' disdain for Cinder has to do with Cinder growing up was just such a brat to him.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
Oh, the whole that was the whole with the if Watts was actually like a Haven like school teacher.
Oh, it goes beyond that.
Actually, her dad or adopted father or something like that. So
that's my uncle.
Yeah, so Watts and Lionheart talk to mainly Salem. Basically, they basically just pretty much recap to Salem what they heard. It's like, oh, we know where the Spring Maiden now is. Like, I got it on the map.
That's what bugged me the most about this scene, at least, was a lot of it was just regurgitated exposition.
And I mean, they could have.
And I swear, I am not intending the insect puns.
And so, like, the thing is like, with that, they could have made it simpler. It's like, oh, we know from Crow that the Spring Maiden's here, and she's at the Raven's Tribe. Like, I can understand, like, why, like, he kind of, like, beat around the bush about it, because, like, it seems that Lionheart's, like, afraid, but also trying to impress Salem at the next time. It's like, oh,
yeah,
it's like the kid. It's like whenever you come home from school and you know that the report card, like, at home has a bunch of D's or F's on it, and then your parents are like, "Why are you doing the dishes and everything without us telling you?" I don't know, I'm just doing it, and then they're hoping that they won't that they'll just let this one slide even though they're not going to. That's what it feels like. That's what it really does.
True.
Well,
I mean, what I appreciate though is at least if they're gonna have, they're gonna regurgitate a little bit too much, which they did. We did get some new information, which is good, and at least we got some more. We got some more dynamics in the relationships out of this scene, or at least continuing and being consistent with the dynamics that they've set previously.
Yeah, Salem, Mama Salem.
Yeah.
Well, here's an example of a good leader. A good leader would realize to kill off the radical and uncontrollable parts of their organization whenever they're easy to get rid of. Oh, wait a minute. We're jumping way far ahead there with that statement.
Yeah.
But we learn, I think the most interesting part from this conversation is we learn a little bit more about Cinder that we already knew, but then we also learn that
that Mercury and Emerald are going to have speaking lines this volume?
They won't.
They're going to put all the main powers. They're trying to make Cinder like the soul maiden. Like they're going to put all of it into her.
I feel like that's what it sounds like. That's
that's what I got from that. Is like they're just going to put all of it into her.
I think they're going to try for diplomacy first. They're going to try and get
that's what I was going to bring up. Is
Raven and the Spring Maiden on their side, but that's. I doubt that's gonna, like, knowing Raven, I imagine it'll be one of those moments of, sorry, but the only thing I'm more scared of than Salem is Salem with a relic, and I'm not gonna help her get one. So.
Yeah,
because that's what I was gonna bring to. Like, I like the concept that Salem wants to, like, wheel and deal and, like, try diplomacy first, because that's how it feels like she got her, like, hook suck into Lionheart at first. Yeah, like Hazel too. but also like Lionheart, like maybe like Salem came to Lionheart during like all the shenanigans and happenings, like after the fall, after the the Vital Festival attack and everything. Like she's like, oh, I can make this stop, but like you need to do what I say.
Yeah.
And it also too like the other thing. Oh, look, a doggo. But
Indeed, a doggo.
Throws Pokeball.
But the other thing too is like we now know that the Seer Grimm is it's like you could use it to talk with, and it also seems like it's like a control Grimm too. Also, as in whenever they are talking in Volume 4, like redouble our forces at Beacon, and so he's fine right there.
Yeah.
But
He's an attention whore.
This is just me and my 40k nerd coming out. So the Tyranids are all like psychically linked, and if you kill a hive mind creature, like all the other Tyranids are like, oh, we don't know what to do. We're just going to default back to our normal animal instincts, and they become immediately less dangerous. Still dangerous though, because they could just slice through Space Marine armor almost like it's no one's business. Well, at least the Gene Stealers can. Well, Terminator plate. Okay, I'm putting away my 40k stuff now.
I was gonna say you got to moderate yourself, Mr.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, that maybe the Seer Grimm is how she like is able to control the Grimm and keep them organized. Otherwise, they just go wherever the fear is, stuff like that. I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely like that idea.
It's just that just puts more of like a creepy factor about the whole Seer and how important the Seer is, because like we saw it in like Volume 4, and we're just like all the reactors I saw were just like, what the fuck is that?
It's because they never saw Code Lyoko.
This thing's literally chilling.
Good point.
Yeah, it's just there. It was already there. That's the funny part. I mean, I think one of the coolest, I think my favorite part about this scene though was the fact that we know we're actually gonna get some Emerald and Mercury in this fucking season finally. Because I actually like Emerald and Mercury, okay? And we haven't had them. Basically, we didn't have them really at all last volume.
Is this gonna sound dumb, but like, was Emerald and Mercury even brought up, or is it just assumed that
Cinder and her team?
Cinder's being sent out into the field. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's got to mean Emerald and Mercury, please.
And maybe even Neo.
So Team Seaman's coming back.
Yeah, Team Seaman's coming back.
Yeah. No,
but
Team Seaman is great.
Damn it, High Power! Team Seaman is coming back. Really?
Yep, they are.
Yeah.
Really?
I'd like to how we get some more reinforcement of just the grudge that Cinder holds towards RWBY, but then I also like too how we get the little nugget of information that Dr. Watts is Team Doctor.
Yeah, he's actually a doctor. He's not like Oobleck Doctor. He's an actual doctor, and apparently can fix Tyrion.
And be patching up his tail. Yep.
Yep.
And we're going to be seeing and it sounds like we're going to be seeing Tyrion pretty soon. Hopefully.
I love how annoyed Watts is. Like, what happened to his other one?
Dude, Watts is great.
What happened to his tail?
They've characterized the villains. Actually, I'll give them credit. Like, if this episode like kind of finales out the fact that they've really characterized these villains quite well. Actually, Watts, Hazel, Tyrion, and Cinder are all so distinct from one another, and I really like that, to be honest. Like, it's really making me enjoy all these villains.
I mean, even Adam too. Adam's like Joffrey in Game of Thrones now, where it's just like you're an asshole. But I know whenever you're on the screen, like bad things are gonna happen, and I don't want them to happen. But I'm here for the ride, and and it's just. Like, Adam seems to be, like, pushing the story forward, at least in Blake's part, which... whatever, but,
Or he's a less pathetic Draco Malfoy.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about that now, since...
No, there's still things to talk about in the Cinder scene and stuff.
Yeah, like, Tyrion is gonna get a talk from Salem, because she wants a word with him. Who else got chills? Who else got chills when she said that? Like,
Yeah,
that's a scene I really hope we see. That's a scene I really hope we actually see.
Mommy's gonna give you another chance, but you better do good. I want to see A+ on that report card.
Written in Ruby's blood.
More than that, though, I want to see the scene where Cinder tells Tyrion that Salem wants to talk to him, because Cinder's like, guess what? You're in trouble now.
Yeah, you
like-
just
I kind of want Tyrion to lash
it's
out,
like-
and then Tyrion just get immediately beat down with her powers.
Go get a
Yeah,
little
that
bit,
would be
get a little
pretty
taste of what Salem can do, basically.
The other thing too also is we get some insight on like the Ruby. I like how they're placing a little more emphasis on Ruby's silver eyes, even though we know like absolutely nothing of like what the powers do. But like even now, like
We'll learn more.
with Cinder being like more trained now and a more proficient fighter, assumedly, Salem's still like you still need to be careful around her. She could fuck you up, I promise.
Because apparently Silver Eyes are like anti-Maiden with anti-Grimm. It's
so weird. Like I don't
still adds weird
understand what Salem is hoping to gain from Ruby.
Yeah.
Like
I
why
don't think
like
she-
I kind of see like I kind of empathize with Cinder in that like
Might as well
I
just kill her
don't
off.
What do
see
you
a
want?
reason to
Yeah,
not
what do you want with the girl?
just
Just
eliminate
kill her.
her.
Well, I think it's consistent with Salem's character of always trying to convert people to your side before killing them. I think that's always her first
Don't you mean Salem's?
option. Sorry, Salem. Yeah, Salem always wants people on her side. That's her whole thing. That's how she thinks she's going to get.
Yeah.
Which I actually like because that's different than most villains we see in most situations. Most villains are always like, I want to be the one and only person. Blah blah blah. I want to kill everybody, sort of thing. Whereas Salem is confident enough in her own powers that she doesn't think she wants to recruit enough people that she doesn't really think they're ever going to be able to defeat her or throw a coup on her or whatever. But she still wants to always make her team even more powerful, which I think that's pretty interesting.
I know. I like that. Go ahead.
And one other thing I really liked about actually it's a different point. It's a different point. So you can talk about that.
Basically, it was just like I like that point, but again, like following that point just follows the whole usual trope. Was like I want you on my side, or I'm going to kill you. However, so I'm just going to send a minion one after another until it happens, and therefore it's just like, oh, thank you for the XP, thank you for the XP, thank you for the XP. Level up.
Yeah, something I could maybe see happening with it is that either maybe she's looking to like replace Cinder with Ruby or something like that. Like I don't know, maybe like the whole Emperor thing in episode 6. I don't know about that.
Yeah,
Or possibly maybe she's looking to like kind of what we talked about with that possibly she wants Ruby on her side, maybe just to keep the maidens in check and stuff like.
That's the obvious
that's a good point.
answer.
Yeah, the ladder's
Is to keep the maidens in check because it seems like the way that it sounds like Salem always has. She probably has a plan to eliminate like every member of her team if that need goes to her, right, and have someone do it.
Yeah.
Like in all honesty, like it seems like Hazel is probably like the most like Tyrion's obviously like like the zealot that he is though, but it feels like it feels like Hazel's actually probably like one of the more loyal ones.
Yeah,
I think Hazel has the most personal.
No, I think it would go like Tyrion, and then Cinder would be the second most loyal.
Yeah,
and then
I don't think
Hazel might actually
loyal.
be the least. I think Hazel. I think Hazel is actually the least.
Yeah.
And
I would say it's a toss up between Hazel and Watts, maybe.
High Power just dropped out.
I was gonna say I think Hazel's gonna say Hazel's probably the least loyal. I said he's got the most personal reason for doing what he's doing. I think whatever the theories we were talking about earlier. Well, we should really save that for the Hazel talk.
Yeah.
Later.
Yeah,
but I think.
I kind of want to talk about Salem a little bit longer. This is kind of so the way I characterized her in Ruby on Veil, which is where she had the most stuff going on.
Yeah.
Like that and kind of Ruby on Origins, but Ruby on Origins was like really, really short and kind of served as like her origin story, but just her origin story.
This was like the
plan,
prehistory, right?
Yeah, so her plans and stuff, and I had it to where she wanted Ruby alive too, but the reason why is that she wanted Ruby to get nurtured into being like kind of like All Might, the symbol of peace and Remnant, the symbol of hope and stuff. Build her up to where every like human and faunus and stuff is following her lead, and then tear her down and just watch everything crumble. Like she wanted to build Ruby up in order to like twice the pride, double the fall.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is because she needed it, because she didn't want to just win the war. She wanted to make it to where nothing else would ever rise against her. And the only way to do that was to resurrect the Grimoire, which all had like very specific ways to do that, which involved prolonging the war. Like in the at the end of the third arc, during the liberation of Beacon, she had an opportunity to kill Ozpin and end the war right there, but she needed the war to last longer because otherwise Ozpin would just reincarnate and would just keep going and going and going throughout centuries. She wanted to end it by resurrecting the Grimoire. This is another reason why she needed RWBY to stay alive. Have them go after RWBY, then have RWBY and her allies systematically kill them off, but Salem infected them with her bugs, to where every time they die,
Rude.
to where every time that a Grimoire dies, their power goes to Salem, and she basically became a god that way. So every time that RWBY and her team won against one of the Grimoire, Salem just got more powerful until she was like basically unstoppable.
Yeah,
So we go full JRPG where you have to fight God, and then the God within God.
yeah.
Okay, but
Well,
we know
in the way that RWBY ended up winning is Salem just couldn't control all that power. It ended up destroying her.
So it just basically became
So-
Akira.
so
It
what
basically
does that
became an
have to-
Akira.
Kinda.
Okay, but
It could also be like,
to be the asshole here, what does that have to do with what you think might actually happen here then? In this, you know, I mean, you have to have a point with all that, right?
Well, I just until we know more about Salem, because it doesn't look, it
we still have
doesn't
questions.
really look like Salem that has anything to do with Salem's plan. Like, I just don't understand what this version of Salem wants with RWBY.
Yeah.
Like the end game. What's the end game of all that?
Yeah, why? Like, why? I offered my
Maybe-
own thing
I
in
guess-
RWBY on, but this is very different. Not that much different, as we
Right,
found out
that's a
last
good point.
episode, but it is different.
I guess something I could also see maybe happening is that maybe he wants to corrupt RWBY and stuff like that, and basically, I guess maybe RWBY's not well known enough and stuff like that, but possibly maybe to kind of pull like a
I
Dark
do-
Knight Harvey Dent thing, where it's like, you know,
I
this
do
is
I do like the
this
idea
is,
of Salem keeping RWBY around to keep any potential maidens in check, because I still think that
Yeah.
for whatever reason Salem can't become a maiden, and that's why she needs Cinder and needs the maidens and stuff. But
Well,
if
that's
the
the other
maidens
thing, too.
were to
There's
unite
also-
against her, she would lose, and so she wants RWBY there to kind of as a checkmate against
The
the
other thing,
maidens.
I will let media go. I mean, I'm sorry, dude, go,
That's
and then
it.
I'll throw in my 2 cents, and I think we can move on after
Yeah,
that.
there's one other idea. There's also the idea that the only reason she wants RWBY alive is so Cinder can kill her, and she's just doing that to be nice to Cinder.
Maybe.
Because Cinder
Right,
really
that's-
wants revenge on RWBY. So she because think about it this way: it's obvious that Salem is responsible for, well, really Ozpin, but Ozpin / Salem are responsible for Summer Rose's death, right?
Yeah.
So we can assume that Salem doesn't really have a problem with killing the Silver-Eyed Warrior. Another point is, so I think she does want her dead. I think she wants to give Cinder the opportunity to kill her, and that's why she said Tyrion take her alive. Another point is, and this is also something, correct me if I'm wrong, with somebody saying this, I think it was Salem saying this either this episode or last episode, but somebody said that, asked a question, or said like, if she has learned to control her powers. Did someone said that, right?
That was this episode. That was this episode.
Yeah.
First of all, thank God somebody, and I'm gonna give credit to Carrie here, not Miles, because I don't think Miles knows how to do that. But thank God somebody. This is a big sign for the show, as minor as this is how pathetic it is, and this is a big deal. Somebody actually made the villains not all knowing for once. Somebody actually, like we talked about this before, how Miles always has to, in every single scene, like everybody knows exactly what's going on, so there's no point to the conversation. This is the first time that we can really see one of the villains are like, we don't actually know entirely what the situation is for our enemies. So shout outs to that line. That line actually made me very happy. It shouldn't. If RWBY was a better show, it wouldn't make me that happy, but it does. And then again, I think that coupled with what I was saying earlier, I think that I think she just wants RWBY alive for let Cinder kill her. Or to maybe convert her, but I don't think she's against killing her. I don't think she has that big of a motivation to keep her alive for good.
Maybe maybe as a test for Cinder or something like that. Like, okay, show me that you've got what it takes to like. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Like, yeah, maybe throw them both at each other and then you work with whoever is still alive at the end. Maybe.
Why is she practicing specifically with images of RWBY to kill RWBY? So Salem wants RWBY dead. It's just she's gonna give Cinder the opportunity to kill her first. That's what Cinder wants. She's being a good mommy to Cinder, so she's gonna say, "Okay, fine, I'll let you kill her. I'll let you kill her instead of Tyrion." I think that's all it is.
It feels like for me that RWBY is Cinder's motivation to become stronger. I think the other thing too, like this is just kind of like the thing that comes to my mind with Salem's like worry of like RWBY actually learning how to use her powers is it kind of thinks into my mind where it's like, it's like if you die in the Avatar state, the Avatar will cease to exist. If a Silver Eye Warrior freezes your ass super hard, the maiden powers disappear for a period of time or something, or like something like that.
Just
like
stay with you or something, maybe.
Yeah, or it's like, the cycle ends with you. Like who knows? Like there might have been other seasonal maidens at a period of time, but we just don't know. So, I think now let's roll into Adam's White Fang shenanigans and cold-blooded murder.
Yeah.
So,
of the glorious tiger waifu.
Yeah, the glorious, cute tiger anime girl, cat ears, brown waifu.
Sorry, high powered. I'm sad. Yeah, sorry.
I feel bad too. Also, if I go to RTX, I'm literally just gonna walk up and grab the mic at the Q&A. It's like, why do you keep killing brown anime waifus? Just if it's a mic stand, I'll knock the mic stand over, and they just hand me the mic. I'll drop the mic and just walk off. I don't care if they like throw me out of the convention afterwards. They don't even answer my question. It'll be worth it.
That would be worth it. Just make sure somebody's filming it too.
Freaking Salem's not the protagonist. It's literally just Adam's sword. You fucking OP.
But so basically, I mean, there's not a whole lot to talk about on this scene, other than Sienna Khan's like incompetence in not realizing that she probably should have like killed Adam or like put him in exile like a long time ago. Like it's you know how you're not you're not a good leader whenever other people below you are trying to overthrow you and take care of your position, and especially whenever like you kind of let them get away with it for a period of time.
Yeah.
Especially when they're like young upstarts and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like Sienna Khan could have solved the situation at any time. She could have just she could have went like public and been like, we denounce like what, like she herself could have been like, we denounce that and got ahead of it and just been like, okay, we're gonna send like like my loyal, like the people I know that are loyal will go find him and kill him. So
yeah, and I think
sent him his head because she said that like he was punished in some way, but apparently it was like a slap on the wrist or something like that.
And then here's the other thing too. Also, like the way that it sounded like initially that like Adam wanted her to like agree with what he was doing. Like if I feel that if Sienna listened to what Hazel had to say, she might have survived. But then at the same time, too, also, I'm like, nah, Adam probably is going to kill her no matter what.
I don't mind her incompetence. Sorry, go ahead, Robert.
Well, here's the thing, though, is that so Hazel comes in and he says, I have a proposal. And she says, every minute you stay here, you're a minute closer to death or something like that. Essentially, what she was saying there is, go ahead, make it quick, or I'll kill you. And then Adam completely interrupts him and goes on his rant and stuff like that. So we never even really got Hazel's proposal, I don't think. So
I kind of wish we got to hear Hazel's proposal, even though we...
Yeah, so
I do wish we got to hear it.
Kind of just lousy writing and stuff like that, that it's like Hazel comes in there and says, I have something to say, and we don't even hear it and stuff like that. Like Sienna Khan doesn't even hear it because Adam's the axe-happy psychopath.
I feel this is what I like too is whenever Hazel's talking to him, Hazel's so confident in his abilities. He's like, "Oh, I could fight off everyone in this room, including Adam, and then all the people that you have in this monster in the zombie spawning closets too." Also,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
like I am of the highest opinion. Like, if like that Hazel could easily have wiped the floor with everyone in that room. Not saying that he'd do it like with minimal effort, but like he would like break like a light sweat. He ain't pouring.
Well, let's face it, they're nameless goons. Yang could have mopped the floor with them, if not for Adam.
Yeah, exactly.
Adam would just take her other arm.
They're red shirts basically, or whatever they're called, right?
Yeah, they're just goons, which we've seen Team RWBY tear apart throughout the entire series.
I mean, like, yeah.
Maybe it was supposed to be like red cloaks or something like that, but yeah, they
Who
were
knows?
nameless goons. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this scene, it's not perfect, but a lot of I would say the biggest reason for that is because of mistakes they've made in the past, not because of the scene itself, really. I mean, it's okay. Yeah, I can see why. I can see how like this is their attempt at like a bossing say overthrow. This is supposed to be like Adam is a Zula. Sienna Khan is a way hotter Long Fang, and so I get it. And of course, it's the same thing as in like the last episode. Like they're trying to do is like none of this really has the same impact as bossing say because they didn't set any of this stuff up. But at least I see what they're doing, and in fairness, I don't mind Sienna Khan's incompetence because that was at least set up previously, and it does make sense that the people are following Adam. I believe that they did at least set things like that up previously, and I don't find it that weird. I don't find it surprising or unbelievable that Adam acted the way he did and did what he did. All of that makes sense based on what we've seen in the past, so it's not surprising. And we kind of knew that Adam was going to end up as the main villain with the White Fang anyways. Was anybody expecting Sienna Khan to be the main bad guy? Because I sure as fuck wasn't. So,
not for long, but still.
Yeah. I was hoping she would have survived.
Yeah, I was hoping she would have survived longer too, especially with how, like, with her character design, her outfit was dope, her voice actor was really good. Yeah.
I'm triggered! I'm triggered!
About that one.
Yeah, your floppy waifu is dead.
Yeah.
Fuck you, High Power. Fuck you.
Hey, his waifu is just as dead. Both of your waifu is collectively dead, okay? And I liked her too. I thought her design was fucking awesome. So I'm upset about it too. So, I mean...
Getting red.
But I mean, I understand. Like, I don't mind it. Like, I don't mind Adam being in the position he's in. That all makes sense. It's believable to me. So, in that sense, here's the sad part about this. As much as some of the setup was bad, this is still the best scene we've had in the Blake arc so far. I honestly believe that, except for Callie being the most adorable Milfadonna of all time.
Man,
other than that, I'd say this is the best scene they've done in the Blake arc so far of the last two volumes.
I'll have to do a slight reality check. I honestly, like, Adam's shenanigans, especially since he's in Mistral, are so far removed from Blake, it might as well be its own story.
Yeah.
Like it's its own plot.
Can I rant?
Yes, you
can
can
rant.
Let's talk about how Blake ruined an episode that she wasn't even in.
I would love to hear this.
Here we go. Here we go.
The whole point of Blake's entire arc in Volume 4, from the end of Volume 3 up until now, was... Let's just do a rundown. She returns home to hide from the White Fang and recover and, like, reestablish connections with her family and stuff.
Didn't this.
Yeah,
and to show off Callie. Don't forget, she had to show off Callie.
Well, that was more the writer's goal. We're talking about Blake's goal.
Yeah, I know.
And then
fucking around.
Finnick and Cossack, the fabulous Fox brothers, come to Gira on behalf of Sienna Khan to pretty much say, hey, what happened to Beacon, Sienna Khan had nothing to do with that. In fact, Adam, we're kind of worried that he might be starting some stuff. We can probably use your support as the chieftain of Menagerie. Blake reveals herself to the White Fang for no reason, which causes the fabulous Fox brothers, who are not actually in line with Sienna Khan, but are in fact in line with Adam, to send Ilya to spy on them, Then Blake, Sun finds out something about the White Fang, sees one, whatever. Tries telling Blake. Blake slaps him, takes a scroll, throws it, ends up hitting Ilya. Then chases her down. Then sometime in the battle, which as we ranted about last volume,
Yeah, we did.
Ilya throws up a smoke screen, does nothing, lets Blake just walk right through it, and then later on uses a smoke screen and actually does run away. So that entire fight was pointless. And that fight was especially pointless. Like, that scene just got worse with this episode because of all the numerous reasons we've already talked about throughout numerous podcasts. The choreography being garbage, the animation being the worst of any fight scene in this series. Ilya scroll manifesting in her hand in between shots, and then all of a sudden that's what they're fighting over, even though that wasn't established until after Blake kicked it out of her hand. And then that scroll conveniently having information on it, which we have no idea how that information got on her scroll, because we're told that that menagerie doesn't have a CCT tower, and that somehow the people in Menagerie knew about the fallen beacon, but they didn't know about the breach. And Ilya somehow had communication with people who are in Mistral, or even Vale, which is where Adam was before all this. Because Adam was in Vale for some unspecified amount of time in between Volume 3 and 4. Yeah, and we assumed, oh, hey, they could easily fix that with Watts being a super hacker, but no, because if that were the case, then Hazel would have known about this coup attempt, because Ilya knew about this coup attempt, because that information was on her scroll, and so Blake, Gira, Callie, and Sun, their goal after they found that information was to take back the White Fang and keep Adam from doing this, so they went to people. We missed that. They completely skipped that scene. They went to unspecified people with this information. The Fabulous Fox brothers denied it, and so they were back at square one last episode, and they were about to go public with it, but why didn't they just go public with it now? Sienna Khan's death could have been prevented if Blake went public with it right away.
Well, see, there's something about that High Power. High Power were talking about this earlier.
Especially if the writers are telling the truth, and Blake's character arc actually takes place before everybody else's, it happens earlier in the timeline. So who knows how long she had that information and didn't do anything with it.
I'm of the mindset. I'll say this real quick, and then I'll let you keep going unless you're done. But I talked to Stock about this earlier before we started the podcast. Is that I'm of the opinion that that this whole scene that we got occurred in Volume 4.
Maybe, yeah.
I mean, here's another problem to add to this that I only realized just right now for whatever reason. What the fuck is the point of Blake's story now that there's no chance in hell that they're going to be able to take back the White Fang? With Adam support being this strong, there's no chance. The White Fang is a lost cause now. You're going to have to destroy him now.
Yeah,
if the writers
theories, but yeah.
If the writers think it's possible to actually convince all those people that are with Adam, who's the craziest one out of all of them, and even Sienna Khan was more radical than Gira, what chance is there of actually taking back the White Fang and convincing the members not to agree with Adam anymore, when clearly pretty much all of them agree with him? Which I'm fine with. I don't mind that that's kind of the way they're going with this, because, like I said, I mentioned just before the podcast that they already lost their chance to do the gray area thing with the White Fang, which they should have, but they lost that opportunity a long time ago. So I'm not upset about that part of it. But so I'm fine with this direction for the White Fang personally. I'm totally fine with it, except for the fact that it makes it impossible for Blake to take it back. And I'm actually
the big thing is that now. So in a fixing, when Celtic Phoenix gets to this part of the story, or when I get to this part of the story in my What If RWBY Was Good series, we can skip every single thing Blake did in Volume 4. Except making it home. We can skip the Sea Dragon fight because that was pointless, and I'll get to that later because there's some parallels with that in the fight scene in this episode, and how this episode does it better.
This does.
You can skip that entire sequence. You can skip you can't really skip coming back home and meeting with her parents, but now you can skip the rooftop fight scene because that went nowhere. That has officially hit a dead end, and that dead end is Sienna Khan's lifeless body. And the scene after that is now rendered completely useless because now you can't do anything with the information on that scroll because it's done too late. It's too late. And same thing with the whole.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and same thing with the whole in the finale, holding up the white fang flag, the new white fang flag, and then holding up the old white fang flag, because the whole because it looked like at the end of Volume 4 that they were going to kind of form this uneasy alliance. Either they were going to form an uneasy alliance with Sienna Khan, or Salem's forces were going to form an uneasy alliance with Sienna Khan, and it was going to end with Sienna Khan getting stabbed in the back and then Adam taking over at the end of the story arc, not at the middle.
Yeah.
Because now this entire story arc just hit a dead freaking end. There's no point in even following Blake anymore for the rest of the volume. Not until she actually gets to Mistral and is helping Team RWBY stop the attack. Yeah, we don't need to ever see Blake until that moment.
With Blake, the only logical choice of action she has, once they learn this information, is they're probably we need to get the fuck out of Menagerie.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Which they should have done at the end of the last one, because again, and we know this for a fact that Sienna Khan was in Mistral. And it's even implied
was Blake not going to Mistral already.
And it's even implied that not even the Mistral area, but Mistral, the actual city.
Yeah.
Here in Mistral, not here in Anima, not here in the Mistral region. Here in Mistral.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the funny thing: is I should be complaining that this episode has made Blake an even worse character than she was before. By the way, I didn't think that was possible. But it is. But now I hate Blake so much at this point that it actually makes me happy. It's funny. It's funny how much.
So here's a few things I want to bring up with this episode.
I got one more thing. I just gotta do this real quick.
Do it. I'll go tip my fedora real quick. Is media?
I don't know. I'm
clapping. I haven't left.
I'm just following him.
Nope, media's audio's dead.
They can hear me. You guys can't because I switched off push to talk on OBS, but I can't do that on Discord right now.
Still can't hear you.
Yeah, he's push to talk on Discord, but not on OBS. So
he's saying something.
So you guys keep interrupting me. pretty much.
But we can't hear you.
You don't explain anything to us.
I'm just gonna say what I already said before. Blake ruined an episode without even being in it. That is impressive. That is beyond impressive.
Yeah, it does. I do agree that they've kind of. Yeah, I do agree that this does feel like I don't know the whole plot of Blake trying to take back the White Fang peaceful. Yeah, it's now kind of like you said, dude. It does feel pretty much impossible now. Or at any rate, she's definitely not going to be able to do it without any kind of bloodshed and stuff like that. If this coup was really so unimportant, if Sienna Khan was really so unimportant, then they should have just done this last volume, killed her off then, and this might all just come down to lack of foresight or something like that. Maybe they're gonna fix it in the future, make it feel better. Maybe this was one of their babies that they just had to kill, but for whatever. But yeah, for now it feels like they've just brought everything to a huge screeching.
The only chance Blake has of being redeemable in any way whatsoever at this point is if the next time we see Blake, either she's on her way to Mistral already, or they learn in some way that they have to go back to Mistral, because now there's no point for her to be on Menagerie. What is she gonna do? Yeah. She's not adding anything to the plot whatsoever. Yeah.
So, I have a theory on that. I'll bring that up. I'll talk about what I think this might lead to at the end here. What I hope it leads to at the end here, to hopefully, yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Alright,
I
I mean,
I'm
she's
gonna-
still the
I'll
worst.
talk about it later
She's
on.
still the worst character in the show. I mean, with this, she's worse than Oscar now.
Oh, boy.
She's now the number
Ow.
one worst character in the
Oh.
show.
Ow.
But
Oh.
yeah,
Ow.
Blake's such a cute character.
I
so
know.
pointless. And I don't even
Ow.
dislike this scene. Like, I actually like this scene overall. And the fact that it just condemned Blake even more, I'm fine with. Like, it made Blake even less relevant.
Well, it did
But
made
it
it less
makes-
complex. Now it's literally just White Fang versus White Fang. It's literally just
No, it's White Fang versus.
No, it's
Blake.
not. It's
Company.
White Fang versus Blake and company, and White Fang versus Team Ruby and White. So the only way this makes sense is that they get everybody there, and everybody. Basically, it's everybody's going to converge on Raven. That's really what we're getting at right now.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Which you've
Which,
already,
which, which Blake has absolutely no connection or no reason to even be in that area.
No, she doesn't.
Yeah,
but
she
they'll.
doesn't.
I mean, Weiss's was
They'll
kind of
probably
bullshit too.
come
So.
up with. They'll probably come up with some sort of connection between her and Gira, between Raven and Gira, or something like that, or Gira, or her and Kali, or something. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna pose a few what if questions here.
Go for
So, what if? So this isn't my opinion. Is that so? Ilya knew that Adam was looking to overthrow the White Fang, but she wasn't expecting him to actually kill Sienna Khan, like just oust her from power. So this
Yeah.
hopes me like getting the arc of where like Ilya actually decides to join up with Blake.
So that
It's very
That
slim,
means you drop
but it
this
seems
ball on
something
purpose.
reasonable.
actually brings up another complaint I have with this, and I'm pretty sure we addressed it when we talked about the Blake short.
Yeah.
They have dehumanized Adam, and I feel like they dehumanized Adam just because of the fandom's reaction to Volume 3.
Yeah.
So here's the other thing I bring up too. So I have a feeling that Salem tasked Hazel to Adam simply because of the reason that it seems real obvious that since Adam is such a loose cannon, and I'm pretty certain Hazel's going to be reporting back to Salem about what Adam did, and then I wouldn't be surprised if Salem's just like, if he feels like he's going to become a burden, just get rid of it. Because I feel that's because Salem seems like is a good bad guy, but she also understands like.
Well,
Adam
no,
could
I could
eventually-
see, I don't think that'll happen because I could see more of a benefit that this is to Salem, because now it's like there is no uneasy alliance. There's this dude who is actually like really loyal to Salem and her
that's what I was
cause,
gonna say.
willing to work and willing to keep control of the White Fang under Salem. Hazel's a little miffed, and I think Hazel's miffed more because Adam did not inform him about this. Like, I don't think, and Hazel, like, nobody needed to die today, but if things were gonna go south, I'm pretty sure Hazel would have done it himself. If negotiations would have went south.
Here's the other thing I like too. This is just something I noticed from the scene was even whenever Sienna Khan was crumpled on the floor, they all still had their weapons trained on Sienna Khan.
Kind of created the effect that he is that dangerous.
But I think let's talk about Hazel for just a little bit, and then I think we can roll into Weiss's.
Well,
part.
I want to.
Actually, before we go to Weiss's part-
I need to finish my thought on Adam and Ilya.
Okay.
Go.
Ilya, you, Robert and Dude, you would know more about this because you listen to the commentaries more. Did they say when they created Ilya?
I think I know that Fennec and Corsic were
Yes, I remember
back
that.
in the first episode. I'm not entirely sure about Ilya.
Because my
I don't
guess.
recall when exactly they said they came up with Ilya. I can look it up real quick.
Yeah, because my guess is that they didn't come up with Ilya until after Volume 3. Because they humanized Adam pretty well halfway through Volume 3. With his uneasy alliance with Cinder basically bullying him into helping her with Vale. And apparently, like, throughout the months, the almost year would have been in between that flashback and the actual Paula Beacon, she really won Adam over to where he was actually loyal. And then the fandom pretty much made Adam into the most hated character, and I'm just really worried that the writers saw that and were like, oh, now we can't humanize Adam because the fandom hates him. We gotta like tap into those feelings. And so because they had an arc set up for Adam all the way back in the Blake trailer, going all the way through Volume 3. And it seems like they have tossed that character arc into the trash and replaced it with Ilya, and it looks like Ilya is going to hit the exact same beats that they had set up for Adam.
Maybe, yeah.
Like that just that's just a little incompetent on their parts. Like, dude, no.
Yeah.
Stick to your guns. Actually, if you ever wanted Adam to have a redemption arc, freaking do it. Don't replace him with a new character just to explore that possibility and then reduce him into Skeletor.
Yeah. I'm evil because being
by the way,
evil is fun.
Which, by the way, that is also my fear for what Oscar. But I don't. But yeah. Did you have something to say, Stock? Or sorry, were you done?
My thing was going to be right before we do the Weiss thing, just to get out of the way. But High Power.
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about Hazel now.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about Hazel. So I like Hazel.
I like Hazel a lot.
I will say this: the supporting cast minus a few characters is carrying the fuck out of this show. Like, they deserve gold stars and all of, like, the upvotes at the end of the Overwatch match that they can get. But
they get collective play of the game.
Yeah, so like with Hazel, for me, Hazel seems like the bad guy that like absolutely abhor. Like, this is probably like him, like from whenever he was like working with like Ozpin, where he tried to always do things with like the like absolute minimum amount of collateral damage possible, and it's just something. And it's also like, this is my other thing too. It's like Hazel seems like the guy, like as I said earlier before, he seems like the guy who has like a loving wife and kids like at home too. Also, that like he goes home to every also. It's like, honey, you're away from work for a while. It's like, yeah, things was really busy out at work.
I'm not sure if he is, but he is that kind of guy.
Out of control.
So
I mean, I would say real quick that I kind of disagree with media a little bit. The tone of voice that he gave when he said that nobody had to die today means that he actually did care about not killing somebody.
It was a little somber.
Yeah, it was pretty somber.
No, it was more disappointed than anything.
And
like you guys said, he didn't even get his 2 cents in. He didn't even have a chance to open up negotiations before Adam showed.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It felt more like Hazel was testing Adam, and then he failed the test. And
I don't think that at all. Adam was just supposed to be a middleman. That was the plan. That was what Salem said at the beginning of Volume 4 was Adam is basically a middleman right now between Salem and Sienna Khan, and Hazel is representing Salem in this meeting, and Sienna Khan is representing the White Fang, and Adam was just the person who set up the meeting.
I think Robert's... Oh, there you go. Robert's voice is working now.
Oh, sorry. Was it not working earlier?
I don't think it was.
Okay, sorry about that. But something I was thinking about Hazel that I was kind of saying, kind of like, he kind of reminds me of Pain from Naruto, and also maybe a little bit of what they tried to turn Itachi into post-mortem and stuff like that. Because he does seem like the kind of guy that, he seems like the kind of guy who honestly believes in what he's doing, honestly believes that he's like gonna say that he's gonna somehow save lives and bring about peace with what he's doing by working with Salem, but at the same time he wants to avoid as many casualties as possible. Like, that to me, I don't know, sounds a little bit like Pain, and maybe that's also like what happened between him and Ozpin is like he tried to avoid as much collateral damage as possible, and Ozpin didn't care enough, and like that's what resulted in that, like, their separation and stuff like that. That Ozpin ended up that like maybe Hazel got to the point where it was like, I can't distinguish between you and Salem and stuff like that, and so I don't know that perchance that's what happened.
Yeah, I feel this definitely is.
But I am very curious about this guy. I want to know more. So.
With what he said, I feel it gives us a slight insight of why he's working for Salem now instead of like still.
Yeah,
being
it's what we were joking about with Salem last podcast. Like, are we sure she's the bad guy? Because right now, I mean, with Ozpin had all-powerful maidens and all-powerful relics that he wasn't using to defend humanity, and instead using as trump cards in this grudge match against Salem, and just this selfish battle between the two. And yeah, for all we know, Salem could be wanting to use that power to, I don't know, maybe end the entire Grimm threat permanently by taking over the Grimm and then taking over humanity, and then nobody has to suffer ever again.
Pacifying everyone.
Yeah, I mean, I would say from what we've seen, one of the things I like about Hazel seems like he's the one whose motivations are the least clear, and I would say he's probably the most altruistic. He has the most altruistic motivations behind. It's kind of what Robert said. Like, he's the one who probably thinks he's doing the right thing more than anybody else, whereas all the other ones, either, Cinder she's power hungry. Salem, we're not 100% sure, but at least if it's a grudge match between her and Ozpin, like, that's not really a good reason. Ozpin's just as at fault as she is, but doesn't make her a good guy. And my guess is she's actually worse off than that too, really. And Tyrion's just a zealot for her. Watts seems to be like the calculating kind of power hungry guy too, whereas at least as of right now, Hazel seems like the guy who thinks he's actually doing the right thing right now. And that's why I say I'm going to have to disagree with media. I still think that the line about nobody having to die, I think that is more than just him being disappointed with Adam, which he is also disappointed with Adam.
Yeah.
But I think that also meant more. I think he actually really didn't want to have to kill anybody. We could be wrong. There could be more to that, but that's what I think is actually his character, and I find that very interesting, and makes him an interesting character. I like that. I want to see more of him too. I like Hazel.
Yeah,
Hazel is best villain right now. He piqued
my interest. Yeah, I'm very curious.
All right, so I think now, unless we have any closing thoughts on this scene, I think we need to jump. Yes, Robert, you raised your hand along with Sock. Robert raised his hand first. Robert gets to go first. I'm going to get some more water.
So I just have a few things that I wanted to mention about what I'm seeing with the fan reactions to this scene and stuff like that. So first of all, we got people who are saying, or who are kind of calling racism on this one. This wasn't a race thing. This was a Miles and Carrie not knowing what they had and not knowing the storyline that they had thing. And so I think people needed to kind of knock that one off.
It was just hand-fisted writing.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Second of all, this was nothing like what would happen in Game of Thrones. You guys brought up the whole Adam Joffrey thing. I'm gonna have to disagree with that one. Joffrey kind of had an excuse for the way he behaved. He was, raised from birth basically to just be a spoiled brat by two of the worst parents ever, and he was a boy king who had no idea what to do with his power. He just did what he did because he thought it made him look cool and stuff like that. And also, in Game of Thrones, they do not kill off characters in 5 minutes before they have a chance to make any real contribution to the plot. They don't do that in Game of Thrones, so that is another thing. So the characters get a chance to make a contribution, they serve more of a purpose than to just die, or if they don't serve any purpose other than dying, then they die off screen, a la John Aaron. And then I think and I will also say this though, that I think the real crime here is not so much that they killed off Sienna Khan, it's that they ended this storyline way sooner than it needed to end. And in their defense, they did not, they weren't necessarily going out of their way to hype up Sienna Khan as a character. They weren't going out of their way to make her seem really important. They only mentioned her a couple times in Volume 4. They barely showed her in the trailers, and to be fair, Blake never said she was going to stop the coup and stuff like that. The reason that people got really excited for Sienna Khan was all those people at New York Comic Con who were putting up fan pictures of her and stuff like that, and freaking and getting really excited about, oh my gosh, she's a gorgeous Indian tiger waifu and stuff like that. And so, and that's where the hype came in, and these people knew full well what was going to happen. So if anything, those are the trolls and stuff like that. So
If anything,
yeah,
I'm actually
those are my responses to everything.
Well, I guess that like what you said about Game of Thrones, and I don't even watch Game of Thrones, but I kind of feel like I understand it more than a lot of the people who do watch it, because what makes that series work is not how they kill the characters, or even when they kill the characters, or even how they build up the characters before they kill them off. The entire series from the outset is set up as this Deadpool. Not like the superhero, but like what he was named after.
All men must die.
It's a death game. Like, there will only be one major character by the end of the series, and they let you know that right away.
Yeah, but then what's really good about it is that before those characters die, they live. They are interesting and stuff like that. Their deaths serve a purpose. Their lives served a purpose. What they did with Sienna Khan here, that's basically what Shakespeare did with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, or what The Walking Dead does with name a supporting character.
Up their contracts, up time to kill them.
Yeah, I mean, okay. The thing is, actually, if anything, I hope this is the reason they killed her. I hope they did it just to fuck with the fans and say, no, just because we introduce a new character doesn't mean they're actually super fucking important and you guys should get all attached to them. If that's true, then fucking...
They should have done that last volume.
Or she's actually not dead.
Last volume.
Or she's actually not dead.
I wouldn't care if, one, her character design wasn't so awesome, and two, her voice actor wasn't so good. If it wasn't for those things, I don't think I wouldn't care. There's so many other bigger issues with Blake's story arc than this. Overall, I like this scene.
This is kind of like the cherry on the top of that pudding, though. But
yeah.
All right, it's Sock's turn, and then we'll get to.
Sorry, Sock.
Okay, well, we're all aware. I came across a interesting theory that on some of these things. So it's not mine per se, but I'm just gonna share it with you all right here.
Are we gonna credit the source if we don't dox them?
I would have to go back and check that. I'll just add it in later or something. The fact is, like, okay, we know like Gira and and Sienna Khan and what they're based off of the Jungle Book and everything, right?
Yeah.
Well, going along with that, what do you guys actually think about Adam being a human disguised as a faunus?
That would be hilarious.
It would be hilarious.
Well, because it's basically the whole thing of with like, because like if looking at it,
I think somebody would have noticed.
Well, no.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, like, it feels like the hordes are actually coming from the mask, and when Sienna Khan was like getting shish kebabbed, she was reaching for his mask.
Except
it would make him like the Mowgli, and it would still go along with his whole thing of being man turned beast.
Except we know that him and Blake had a relationship at one point. Blake would have noticed.
He just
no. They could fuck that up because of all the stuff they fucked up with Blake, they could totally fuck that up too. That's not in defensive. They can't. Doesn't work.
Yeah,
I don't think it's likely. I think that's a little bit too M. Night Shyamalan ding dong bullshit from them, but it's possible. I wouldn't. In fairness, in support of that theory, there's really nothing to say that that's not possible because, I mean, they forget everything in this show. Like they don't set things up that well. So.
Well, it feels like she was reaching for his mask so that others would stop following because he was actually human. He just he's delusional.
Or to rip open his neck and he bleeds out.
He's what's the guy that the Dave Chappelle character?
It's about that racist the black KKK member.
Yeah, the black KKK member.
No, it's the blind black KKK.
Yeah, the blind black KKK.
Black KKK member. Yeah.
This is
right now.
He's just an Uncle Ruckus from the Boondocks.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna have to
the main. Oh, what was his name? I don't know, but the main villain from the first season of Legend of Korra. That guy.
Amon.
I've never actually watched Korra.
Amon.
The guy was
You're not
against bending, but then he turned out to be a bender. So.
All right, I'm going to have to put a stop on all this. Let's get to the Weiss part, and then we can do some more theory crafting and what-ifs once we're done with that. So, we get a fight scene with Weiss, and I'll be honest. Okay, so here's a few things. So first of all, I really like the Lancer Wasp. They're cool. I like that Grimm. I like what they did and how they like destroyed the ship, where they were literally pulling it apart, and then one of them kamikaze.
I think it was the queen that kamikazed it. Yeah.
No,
Nah,
it was just
another one.
it was just a drone.
The queen doesn't come in until later. We actually see the queen wake up.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Also, that I like about like how they feel like kind of set is like these bigger Grimm are just like hibernating until like they have a reason to wake up.
Yeah.
So basically, a rapier, the Lancer Wasp kamikazes into the other one, and like I mean like the civilian casualty count for this episode is really high. We don't know how many people are on there. We assume there's a fair amount of people on there, and like
might be a little more tragic than Sienna Con.
And like, yeah, this should be more tragic than Sienna Con, but like, the thing is too is like I like how there's like as shitty as it sounds, like it kind of gives the Grimm like a more like they become more of a threat whenever like oh look they're dying over there and there's nothing we could do about it. Like we're
this
literally
should have been what we got during the breach in Volume 2, by the way. We should have gotten something like this in Volume 2. Civilians dying. But anyway, go ahead.
Like they're just like, it doesn't even be anything simple. Like oh look, there's a guy being mauled in the background. He's probably dead. I like the fight scene. Weiss is definitely the mage of the group. I think Media mentioned this, so she basically uses her rapier as a wand. I'm kind of curious too, also about how they're transporting dust. Were they transporting dust to like supply the kingdom with more weapons?
Because dust is everything in this universe. So why not? Why wouldn't
you have to remember there's an embargo right now, and unofficial. And the pilot was carrying that unofficially.
Yeah,
was he carrying that? Was he carrying that for the Schnee Dust Company? Or was he carrying that?
It had the Schnee logo on it.
Well, all dust has the Schnee logo on it.
Not all.
He was literally like it's black market goods. It's basically like black market goods, basically at this point because of the embargo.
It was the point is it was dust from Atlas going in the direction of Mistral. He had it probably for emergency fuel or weaponry or whatever, and just for the sake of having it, but. As opposed to because of the embargo.
I'll be honest, I really like that whole background too of all the floating islands and stuff and just the big huge crystals of like gravity dust that are like and I was like, yeah, we're flying around here, it's kinda dangerous, but it's whatever. I'm an ace pilot.
I have a bit of a question about that, but I'll talk about it later.
I don't. I think it's actually like the best version of the floating island cliche I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's well done. I like it.
Yeah,
I was gonna say,
it makes so much more sense than like what James Cameron's Avatar was doing, or what are some other magical floating island stuff.
Yeah, I did like. So one thing I wonder about that though is that in the Dust World of Remnant they talk about how there's 4
World of Remnant's not canon. We don't talk about that here.
Yeah,
get that out of here.
Yeah.
Well, we're supposed. Okay, never mind.
We talk about it and then they retcon it. And we're just like, fuck
and those are probably like the 4 raw forms, but you know, just like elements and minerals in real life, they probably combine naturally too.
Okay,
I mean,
dust that is kind of a question that I had actually. Like, could they have combined naturally or something like that? Because, yeah, I was wondering about that because I don't know how geology works. So.
Well, the Vinyl Festival was floating using their gravity stone, so...
Well, that was man-made. That's not what he's asking.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering about, is like, you know, there's supposed to be 4 basic types of dust. I'm assuming that means, like, 4 naturally occurring types of dust, maybe, that are, like, aren't
or raw dust, it doesn't matter.
But, yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I just like the backdrop, because it's a cool backdrop. Like, the whole scene and everything was good. Weiss creatively using her powers, like, oh, I force push them all the way. I shoot them down with fire stuff. I will give them this. The sound that they use for the dust shells hitting the ground is an accurate sound for bullet casings hitting the floor.
Yeah.
Even though that's a really stock thing. I know this because I do the shoot bangs with my gun.
Yeah.
You mean guns plural?
I like that we saw Weiss actually loading up her weapon.
I like that.
You see, that's what I like too. It's the small thing. We've had like reloads and like stuff that's happened in this.
Yeah, we've only had a few.
Yeah.
I mean,
I like that.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Robert, then dude.
Here's something else that I also liked about this. That we had Weiss using her semblance to anchor herself down. I thought that was a nice little touch of like, you know, we're not defying physics here. She is not, yes, she would normally fly off, but her semblance says allows her to fix that. So that was something that I appreciated. But
Yeah. So can I rant about Blake here? Because I feel like we need to rant about Blake. Actually.
What with this scene?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Because-
you've got a minute.
No. This is why. This scene is like a perfect example of why Blake sucks, because this scene is almost the same as the fight that the Dragon Grimm fight that Blake had in Volume 4. It's not the fight itself isn't really that important. It kind of feels
it's way more important than any other Grimm fight outside of like the Nuklavi one.
Yeah.
Okay, so dude, are you saying that Blake's Grimm fight with the dragon would have been better if there was 2 other ships going around with them, and both of those ships get destroyed at
No,
the end?
it's the whole fact that scene was padding. That the dragon fight scene was filler. It was padding. You can skip that entire thing and not miss anything. Whereas this whole fight with the Lancers is what causes Weiss's ship to crash, which is what puts her within Raven's clutches.
Exactly.
And this fight actually meant something to Weiss because she just watched these things kill a bunch of people that she had wanted to help. So now she's all like, I'm doing what we should have done from the start. I thought that was also a really nice touch. That it's she has a reason why she wants to pick a fight with these things.
Yeah, they showed some actual consequence of the Grimm, which is a theme they've been doing so far this volume.
Although I still have absolutely no idea how this economy works without huntsmen being just mandatory on ships like that.
I don't either.
Well, no, there was a huntsman manned on one of the ships, but that
they did say in their Well, no. So on the passenger ship, when they radioed in the first episode, they said our huntsman is down.
Oh, so, did they?
Yeah, they said our huntsman is down. So they had someone. That person died defending them.
Oh shit! They actually did something consistent. That's not bad. Cool. All right.
Well, yeah, that raises up my opinion of this even further. And this is one of my favorite Grimm fights. Probably ever.
Yeah. So that's what I was gonna say. This is one of the best Grimm fight scenes. We get Weiss using
it's way more creative. Like from a narrative standpoint, from a narrative standpoint,
her actually using her summoning ability, more practically.
Yeah, I'll get to that later.
And extremely creative use of her ability too, which is I like.
Which is great.
And we get a really good. Yeah, so here, because this is what we get. It's visually consistent. There's nothing that made the Geist fight and the Nuklavi fight kind of an animation expert's nightmare. And if you want to know more about that, watch the Side Guys videos on why RWBY Volume 4 was broken. It's a lot more creative. It's an airship, it's flying around. You get a lot of physics-based stuff. I do have nitpick stuff, when the Lancer dive bombs the one ship, the explosion, it looks like the explosion is done in 2D animation, and then the model for the ship just vanishes behind the smoke. They just delete it off the screen.
No rubble, no
no rubble, nothing falling down,
tumbling out of
just
the sky.
Poof, gone.
Can I say that pilot guy is
probably dead?
Can I say that pilot guy is dope? I like pilot guy.
Yeah,
he's also probably dead.
Miss him. He's probably dead. He's probably dead.
He's probably dead, but I still like him. He was a good side character. They've been doing that well. Yeah.
We also
I'll
get
drink to that.
We also get a really good look at how Weiss's power set actually works. For instance, just using the fireball for example, because I was going through this fight frame by frame when I was getting screen grabs. She has energy on her hand and she slides it along the blade, and then the glyph actually comes out of her hand, but the fire actually starts from the dust crystals in her rapier, and you can see it generate there, fly along the blade, hit the glyph, and then launch.
Yeah,
you can see the actual, if you go frame by frame, you can actually see the mechanisms. And you can kind of do this a little bit with each other. The best one is with the fireball. That's where it's the most clear, and where you get all the frames you would want with it. Another little minor nitpick, and this is more just something with the engine. the movements have way more frames, which makes it look way more fluid. Like, that is excellent. That is what makes Western animation look so much better than even the best of anime, is that
My glorious 60 and 30
Western
frames a second.
animation always has higher frame counts, which makes animation look so much more fluid.
Somewhere Total Biscuit is jerking off to you saying
Yeah.
that.
And
My frames.
I got that 1080 Ti and a 4K monitor. It pushes those frames.
and the thing is, like, so you're getting higher frame counts per second for more fluidity and more detail, but it's also kind of over a larger span of time, which makes a lot of the movements seem slow and sluggish. And this was more of a problem. It's not so much a problem here as it was in some of the fight scenes in Volume 4. Especially like the Geist fight.
Like too floaty.
Yeah, it makes it look a little too floaty, like someone hit the slow motion button, almost like they're fighting through molasses, like trying to move through molasses. Again, like, it's not so much a problem here, but it's something I certainly noticed in the bit where Weiss does like the backflip onto a glyph and then flies across the room. She like almost flies in slow motion behind the crates. But yeah, there's a little nitpick stuff like that. One thing. Oh my god, since when do bullets fly straight in this engine?
They don't. This
They do
triggers
though!
me
They
internally.
do though! In this fight scene they do! Like, finally. Like, we got, like in last volume we got Nora's rockets going like all zip 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 as they hit the guys in the nucleavi. We got Ruby's bullet doing like a 90-degree turn in midair to hit the tree that the Geist was using as an arm. We got Yang's shotgun gauntlets firing rockets that moved up and down like this towards the Ursa. And this one, Weiss, the only one who in canon like should be able to curve her bullets and stuff because it's just dust and she's manipulating it with her semblance, it actually flies straight.
Yeah, weird.
Hey, this is the other thing I like too.
Except when she like arcs them up to hit the cliff, which by the way, that was a really good version of the whole go through a narrow passage, because something that always bugged me about that cliche is that, like, you know, you're kind of running the same risk and these things are smaller than you, so... But no, it's like, no, they just fly in something that they can easily fit through, and then Weiss closes it down on them, and that's how they take them out.
Yeah, that was really smart too. I'm glad they actually thought about those things. Yeah, it was Can I just point out, it's like, Weiss is my favorite character. She keeps getting all the best scenes. Like, yes. They keep doing Weiss correctly. Like, she's the only character that, like, is almost always correctly done with her scenes since the beginning where she was, like, inconsistent and weird. But
yeah.
Since Volume 4 and 5, she's been on point.
Yeah, she's been pretty good.
Like, this scene, if this was Blake and it was last volume, it would have been like the dragon fight. It would have been pointless and stupid. And instead, it's Weiss, and it's Volume 5, and it's a great scene. It's important. We get. It's what I was trying to say earlier, is that you get consequence of people actually dying. The fight actually makes sense. I like the interaction between her and the pilot guy. And
the pilot gets a few kills in too also.
Yeah. And I like that we showcase her fighting. I like we see her actually summoning, and it actually means something.
And the summoning has more personality than some characters that will remain not mentioned.
Oscar?
The gag in my video is actually going to be coffee.
Here's another thing too.
And it actually means something because she ends up with Raven. So, thank you.
This fight actually has plot relevance, which is something that we don't get a whole lot of in action scenes.
This is something, I don't know if y'all had this same. So okay, I want to mention this song. So the song that they do is a remixed version of her opera song from.
It's a little out of place.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that's out of. Okay, now here's though. I actually thought it was very good song. Because
I love this song. We talked about this in the podcast about the music. This song is in Volume 4 soundtrack. It's a great song.
Let me get to what I'm about to bring up. So this is why I like this, that they use this song. So whenever this song started playing, I immediately had a sense of dread that, like, this isn't going to end well. This isn't going to end well. And with the way that it cuts out, and then, there she is with Raven, and like, yep, there you go, I'm right. It didn't end well.
Yeah.
Like, because whenever that song started playing, like, it's in like a more upbeat, like rocky tempo, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, this is a cool song, like she's actually like rebelling, like well she's rebelling against the Grimm that are trying to kill her right now though, but in reality she's falling from the clutches of her dad to the probably more terrifying clutches of Raven.
We'll see what
So
happens.
I'm not your pet, not another thing you own. You were saying?
yeah,
So
proceeds to get,
okay,
proceeds
so
to get thrown into a cage.
can I talk about that line and the way it's used in this scene?
Sure.
And this is why I think the scene is out of place. It just doesn't. This isn't a big
song.
This isn't a big character revelatory moment for Weiss. This is just an action scene. It's a really solid and good action scene, but it's not this like character defining moment. And also the line "I am not your pet, not another thing you own." Do you know what is being shown when that line is said?
What?
All the dust.
A solo shot of her literal pet summoning. Flying through the air. And doing like all the flips and stuff. I am not your pet, not another thing you own. Like,
Okay, we have to come up with a name for Weiss's stand.
I call it Silver Chariot in my review as a JoJo reference.
Yeah, let's see. Silver Chariot's good.
I'm still going with Soxcalibur. I don't give a damn.
But I mean, that's base.
And I'm gonna go with Soxcalibur as well.
I've used like 5 different names for it in my fanfiction. Like I think the one I use the most is the Dread Knight.
I'll probably just go with Armor Giga, but yeah.
But
that's probably what they'll go with, the Armored Giga.
I think that's the official title.
I think we're pretty much done with that. So let's roll into some of the theory crafting that I have. So I want to pose. This is an idea that I think we talked about in the chat on Discord. So we're going to share it publicly now. Adam said that he was going to say, "Oh, a huntsman came in and killed Sienna Khan." So since they're in Mistral, the first thing that came to my mind, which it was just kind of like, "Oh, this popped in my mind," was RWBY. But then I think someone else mentioned, I forget who it was.
I did.
Mentioned,
I did. Just how absurd that entire idea would be. Like, really, a 16-year-old student managed to sneak into the most secure White Fang facility on the planet and kill your high leader and got away with it.
And then
like they need to, if they're gonna pin it on somebody, they need to pin it on somebody who's an absolute freaking pro. And my thought was Crow, and then as I was typing that, I was like Crow or Winter's there.
Winter, yeah, I thought so.
Because here's the thing, though, too. Also,
if they do decide to even make it a specific person that they can,
they probably won't.
How Winter's gonna die? This might be it.
So that's the thing, though, too. Also, so if this is the good and bad. If that's the actual scenario, though, if they pin the blame on Winter, because one, that will make the White Fang hate them even more because a daughter of the Schnee family killed our leader. And then 2, this will also further throw Blake's plotline into the dumpster. Because then if anyone figures out that Blake was on the same team as one of the Schnee daughters, like her bargaining, like her social bargaining power with the Faunus goes into the dumpster. Like you cannot sell those stocks fast enough to even make some sort of money on.
Yeah,
so, like, if that seems like an obvious way of doing it, like if I was them writing, I would be like, oh, we'll just say that Winter Day. There you go, easy peasy. And that would be in my mind, that would be good writing.
Oh, absolutely. If it's not Winter, I'm going to be disappointed at this point.
Yeah, they probably won't blame anyone specific, but it's just a thought.
They should blame someone, because if they don't blame someone, then people will be more suspicious. If you don't, if you're trying to cover something,
but this is Remnant, where an entire civilization that has lived its entire life with Grimm has not adapted to fighting the Grimm. So, I have very little stock in the intelligence of the general populace of Remnant.
Yeah. All right, so everyone who's got their crazy ideas and theories, just start throwing these things out on the table.
Well, I already threw mine out and I got shot down.
Robert's.
Sorry.
You
can go ahead, Sock. That's okay.
No, I said mine.
Okay, it's your turn, Robert.
Well, so I do think that, I think that this is probably going to be how Elia forces Blake to leave Menagerie, is that they come forward and then she's all like, and then Fennec and Korosaka are all like, bad news, the Schnee dust, Sienna Khan has been murdered, and we believe that it was at the hands of Winter Schnee. What, Blake? Weren't you on a team with Weiss Schnee at Beacon a while back? And they basically say, you want us to be peaceful, but it's clear that the humans don't want to be peaceful. So they end up rallying a bit. So they end up starting basically some sort of riot, basically against like any human sympathizers in Menagerie. So like after that, the Belladonnas and maybe any people that sympathize with them all have to get out of there and get out of there fast. And so then they decide, okay, we need
gotta
to take
go.
We're gonna,
We gotta get out of Australia.
Yeah, and then they're kind of like, we need to go to Mistral. We need to take care of Adam. We need to deal with this. And Blake's all like, well, how are we going to do that? We're going to need someone. And either Gira or Kali is all like, well, I know someone. I know a Bronwyn and stuff like that. And so that's where, and I think that Raven's probably going to take Weiss, probably with the intention of ransoming her. And I think it's possible that Weiss might be all like, I really don't want to go back to my. She's like, or she's all like, I don't, like, honestly, I will.
The easiest answer that she has to say is like, my dad disowned me. You kidnapped the wrong Schnee.
Yeah,
I am no longer the
like,
heiress.
like, you kidnapped the wrong Schnee. My dad disowned me. I don't even want to go back. Who knows? Maybe we'll get like Wild Weiss or something like that. Like she teams up with the bandits and like gains some rep with them, and then
I would love that so much.
Weiss gets prison tattoos and a whole new outfit.
I think it would be awesome.
It would get rid of that freaking.
She reunites with Raven. She's like, yeah.
I don't know.
It would get rid of that freaking outfit she has.
If that happens, Weiss confirmed best character, like no question.
Yeah.
I just hope she changes her freaking outfit. I don't like that outfit really much.
I love
really
her outfit.
I love it
But
for where it was when it was where it was, but now where it is now, it doesn't make sense.
Say that 5 times fast.
Made no sense.
Say that 5 times fast.
Yeah, I know. When it was it made sense in the mansion. And I like it there. It doesn't make sense anymore. She should get a new outfit. I think she needs another new outfit, and I hope it doesn't go back to just the old one. I would love to see Weiss in like bandit pants or some shit like that. I want that.
I think that would be interesting.
Oh.
Yeah.
And with the whole Yang coming
at
Raven.
Raven is more of a mom to Weiss than she is to Yang.
No. No. Everyone stop. This is the olive branch that Raven offers to Yang as a token of good faith. Is that she frees Weiss?
Maybe.
Yeah, true.
That's the olive.
Do you really think Raven cares?
Yeah, I want Weiss to be a bandit.
Well, we don't know how Raven's gonna react to whenever Yang runs into her, because it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when now. Which, if we're of the mindset that Raven wants to bring Yang into the fold, that would be a damn good way. That would be a very good symbol of good faith.
Like I have your friend, he likes me. Yeah, maybe. And I think. And I think where this is all leading is kind of like what we talked about. Everything is converging on Raven and stuff like that. And I think it's going to be Blake showing up with some sort of olive branch to offer Raven. I don't know what, but she shows up and she basically says, or maybe like Raven actually, or Yang and Raven actually do hit it off and actually do end up making nice. And so Blake goes to Yang and says, I would really like your help to bring down the White Fang or something. And it becomes like kind of this three-way conflict between Ranger, Raven, or Blake specifically, and Cinder and the gang, where where like Ranger is saying, you just need to get out of here. You need to get the Spring Maiden as far away from Mistral as possible. Cinder is saying, hey, my boss is really powerful. We would really like your Spring Maiden to help us get at the relic, or we're gonna have to kill you. And then Blake comes in and says, I need your help to take down the White Fang. And which also has Ranger saying, to Blake, you can't send her into a fight. That's going to be playing right into their hands. And so it creates that kind of three-way conflict there, possibly.
I don't think Raven cares the least. Here's my disconnected chain of thoughts. So, I would really love Fraser Byrne becoming bandit buddies.
Yes. Some
Oh my
Weiss
God.
Yang moments. I want it. I want it.
The Weiss X Raven ship is Deep Freezer Burn.
Oh no.
Oh God.
Oh, boy.
So, I think so. Weiss is the first person to meet up with Raven. That there's a comedic possibility. I don't think they're gonna go through with that. With the whole like, oh wow, my teammate Yang has looked for you for 10 years, and I just basically fell in your lap.
Yeah.
Uh,
So easy.
Okay, wait. I want to stop you for just a second. Okay,
I found it!
just a round table. Does Weiss recognize Raven? Like, does she know
Yes.
who Raven is?
Yeah,
Yes.
everyone knows who Raven is at this
dude,
point.
if John
Yeah,
knows,
John
everyone
knows.
knows.
Yeah.
When she
Yeah.
says, "Hi, I'm Raven Bronwyn," she'll be all like, "Oh, you're." So yeah.
Yeah, if John knows, like John's my favorite character, but like if John knows, then
This
everyone
also
knows.
leads me to think that media is super right in that media is going to be doing the predicting for this volume. My foresight powers have disappeared. Maybe it's because I haven't drank enough. But
Maybe.
media. I'm gonna give it back to the talking stick. Back to media. I'm sorry.
So, we know why Yang might be going there. We theorized about that last podcast. We know why Team Ranger and Crow are going there. We know why Cinder's going there. I think Raven might like throw together an impromptu tournament to see who is worthy of her attention. And I think that might be like the bulk of like the fight scenes we're gonna get this volume. Like with we might get like RWBY vs Cinder, that rematch of Yang vs Mercury. We might finally get Weiss vs Emerald, Cinder versus the Spring Maiden. Like just all these battles basically over Raven's help. And it would be a good way to facilitate some action scenes, and it would be a good character moment for Raven to be like, "Wow, I'm awfully popular now."
As her camp's literally being surrounded by Grimm as like as an insurance policy.
I can see that. I can see that, honestly.
I hope we don't get a hiatus.
We certainly will. With 14 episodes, and if this is going to be the average length, we are definitely getting a hiatus at least halfway through.
Like,
I mean,
episode
like
7.
a really big hiatus too.
Like,
Because I mean, they just like a week ago finished the scripts for the back half of the volume. Like they just now finished writing the second half of this volume.
What, 2-3 weeks? You think maybe?
Yeah. And I keep trying to think of ways that Blake would. The only thing I could possibly conceive is that old theory that Raven used to train Adam.
Yeah.
That old theory.
That is literally the only thing I can think of that would get Blake involved in this plot, which I'm not sure I want. I probably don't want, but Team RWBY will be reuniting this volume.
Probably.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's very clear.
The only one who is maybe even a question mark is Blake, but we know for a fact that RWBY, Yang, and Weiss are all going to be in the Bandit tribe in this volume. Those three are definitely reuniting.
Here's the big question: is Raven's Bandit Clan gonna be like episodes 1 through 6, and then we have like if Raven's Bandit Clan is 1 through 6, what the absolute fuck is 1 through 7? That's what I'm more concerned about.
You mean
7 through 14?
Yeah, 7 through 14.
8 through 14.
8 through 14. It'd be 1 through 7 and 8 through 14.
It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy.
I am curious. Yeah.
I don't think everybody will get to Raven until like halfway through the volume.
That's what I'm thinking.
I think, and oh my goodness, I called this with our Volume 5 predictions. The halfway point is Team RWBY being reunited.
Yeah, you might be right about that. They all get reunited at Raven. And I'm actually okay with that, because I didn't really want RWBY getting reunited soon. But if it's at Raven, that's kind of okay. And then that kind of
reunited, it might not necessarily mean nothing.
And then hopefully that could possibly solve the whole Osktard being such a fifth wheel thing, because then there's going to be so many characters, they'll have to put him somewhere. So maybe
I would be surprised if Crow's like, we need you to stay behind because we don't want to like Because I have a feeling like if Raven realizes who Oscar is, she's probably gonna be like, nah.
No,
Yeah,
just
be like,
no.
No.
Again,
Not
Raven,
again.
Raven has no reason to
No.
care about any of this, though.
Yeah.
The only thing, like, she has no reason to care about the relics or the maidens. She just cares about her clan survival, which is why I still think that her and Spring have already swiped the relic of knowledge.
Which also makes more sense of
that
why...
they're gonna freaking play Cinder like a fool. They're gonna play Salem like a fool. By
Like,
the end
the
of this
whole,
volume,
the end of the volume is gonna be them using the relic
Cinder.
to
Well, no, like Spring opens the vault and like, yeah, okay, I'll open the vault for you, no problem. Opens it up and it's empty. Like,
Lock Cinder inside of it.
I never promised you the relic. I only promised to open up the vault for you.
Yeah.
Immediately gets hit by the bug goo. But I mean, like, really, because it's like I feel like this is leading up to like the end all be all Mexican standoff. Yeah, y'all understand what like a Mexican standoff is, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I've seen the movie.
Yeah,
I've seen the specific movie too.
It's basically a no-win situation. Like
Unless-
everyone has it's
Eastwood.
yeah, it's basically everyone has everyone by the balls, and it's just it's literally playing the game of like who's willing to squeeze first.
It's true. That's basically accurate. Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's just like I like this episode. It's like I'm looking forward to like what's gonna happen with Weiss and the Bandit Clan. I mean, really, like I feel like they're condensing the plot down more because now it just seems like the storylines are gonna be Lionheart double agent shenanigans, Bandit Clan shenanigans, and Adam doing whatever he's doing, and then Team Ranger and everyone else are along for the ride. I'm going to pass it off to you, Robert. You want to speak?
Sure. Sorry, I just had one other theory about where I think be going Adam's storyline and stuff like that, which is that I think, something that you kind of talked about, dude, is that it doesn't feel like there's any chance of Adam getting overthrown. I think there might be a slight chance. I think it might be one of those things where he gets crazy enough and does stupid enough things that the White Fangs start to realize, okay, we liked this guy because he was a man of action and he got results, but he stopped getting results and our people are dying and stuff like that. Like he makes several bad decisions that end badly for the White Fang, and so then Blake is kind of able to do what he did, walk right in, and Adam's all like, okay, get her. And the White Fang are all like, you got this, bro.
That's
like
true.
they all just stand back, and like he turns to Hazel and maybe even Salem, and they're all like,
Hazel just shrugs like,
and they're all like, you're too much trouble to put up with now, or you've done what we needed you to do, and like that's how we get like Blake duking it out with him and eventually beating him. Maybe.
And it seems like the deal,
That's
honestly,
true.
it seems like the deal that Adam has with Salem and company is that the deal ends like once they get the relic, like she doesn't really care what they do after that point.
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel like Raven would know that.
Use to them. Yeah, they don't. Yeah, Salem doesn't need him anymore. Hazel's definitely not going to stick his neck out for him, and so that's something I could see. That's where I kind of see that going.
I think Salem wants, if Salem's wanting to win Raven over, she's wanting Raven to be like a permanent fixture within her group. Because she does not want Raven to end up jumping ship.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to like just, either that or just kill her and her entire clan outright, which if she had the ability to do that, then why even bother? Which is why I think I don't think Raven's gonna join Salem. I think Raven is. I don't know because we just don't know enough about. We just know that Raven isn't really concerned with the relics or the maidens or the kingdoms. That she mostly just cares about her clan. She doesn't want
Salem to have them. We know that much. We know that for everything she doesn't like, what she really doesn't like beyond anything else is Salem. So yeah.
I don't think Raven. I'm still of the mindset that Raven won't join up with Cinder with Salem. There's no reason why. Like with what we know from her now, there's no reason why.
Yeah.
But the fact that I feel that the fact that Salem is sending Cinder and company to go and try to, make deals with them might make her more willing to work with Crow and the other members, like Team Ranger and Team RWBY and whoever. I feel that will be like, she's like, okay, it's like, because now she went from being like, okay, like I've been, flying under the radar for this long time, but like now I'm like an
Now
actual,
they
like
found-
now I am a target. Now they want to deal with me.
Although she might have that question of, how did they find me, Crow? And he's like,
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, that's the other thing too. Also, that's the other thing. This could also blow open the fact that Lionheart's a traitor. He's like, oh, the
Yes.
only person to know are these people in Lionheart. There you go. That's obvious, and I hope that's putting in there.
Yeah.
I kind of hope that I really hope, Meaty, you're right that Raven's just gonna play Cinder like a fiddle. Because I feel like we need, like, it doesn't need to be a big victory, but we need a victory of some kind.
Yeah,
For
something.
the good guys. It doesn't need to be big. It just needs to be like, okay, like, we accomplished the objective. Like, oh, as they, like, this is happening, like, oh, look, Mistral's burning over there in the distance. Oops. But, I mean,
you guys need a semi-victory, that sort of thing.
all right, well, if anyone else has anything to say, I think we could start winding this down.
I do, and it's something I just thought about and should have been earlier. But once again, the trailer was cut together stupidly because Salem basically makes it clear that it wasn't the White Fang that she promised the destruction to Haven to. It was Adam.
It was Adam. Yeah. Yeah, no. Yeah.
Yeah.
And one more theory that I have. Next time we see Tyrion, I think, first of all, Salem's going to tell him, hey, guess what? You said that you killed Crow, but he's still alive. And I think that Tyrion might end up revealing there that even if, that possibly, this is a plotline that I've wanted to happen, it may not happen, but that Crow, even though he survived the poison, it's still going to work its way into his system, and it's still going to weaken him and cripple him, and his days as a huntsman are numbered, kind of like All Might. Kind of that situation.
Oh, Crow has cancer now?
That would be cool.
Kind of, yeah. Like, not necessarily, like, it's not going to kill him, but he's not going to be able to fight as a huntsman for much longer. He's got maybe one or two good fights left in him and stuff
Tyrion
like
activates his semblance, and Crow's like, oh no, I have cancer.
Maybe. And also, I think that might also be where Tyrion says, and like Salem's going to say, go to Mistral, get your new tail, finish the job, or something like, or maybe she has a new job. Don't disappoint me this time. But also, I think Tyrion might also mention, by the way, the girl was traveling with someone very interesting to me, a certain Ark, and that's where we're gonna find out, or at least they're either gonna reinforce that John was a person of interest to them, or we're gonna find out why he was a person of interest, maybe.
Sorry, anything with Tyrion and John related, I kind of blocked out because Ballsy likes posting those freaking images and shit posting.
I'll be honest, I kind of want Raven to pick up on John's name too, also.
Maybe.
And I hope his semblance is just a lay of hands cast. He's like, oh, I'm really injured, and a sword's through me. Okay, I'm better now.
I don't know. My interest in Jean is at like an all-time low right now.
Same.
You leave my boy alone. He's going through some shit, okay?
I just like him because he's the audience self-insert.
Yep.
No,
Yeah, but
he's
as we
Miles self-insert.
Yeah, he's Miles self-insert. An audience. Yeah, exactly.
At least he's not as bad as that one guy in the Powerpuff Girls where he's like writing himself in to be romantically involved with one of the Powerpuff Girls.
Lol, what?
This sounds like...
Okay, so I'll do my summary real quick, actually, because I don't have as much to complain. There's actually very little for me to complain about this time, because as much as some of the weird issues with Blake's arc still sucks, and this episode made it suck even more, I don't care. She's a lost cause at this point, and I like the scene. I like what it did for Hazel. I still think it's consistent for Adam, and I like that it kind of creates a bigger sense of urgency around the White Fang. Like I said, they already lost their chance to make them a gray area kind of thing a long time ago. So I'm good with that. I think that was a good scene overall then for where it is. If it had to be here, it was done well. I like the scene with Lionheart and Watts. Watts is also great. I'm really loving the villains right now. We're actually going to hopefully get Emerald and Mercury back, which I really like because I actually really enjoy them. And Weiss' scene was fantastic, and it also converges her on Raven, which is something we weren't expecting. So it's really...
We weren't expecting,
really,
excuse me.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
They're really streamlining things and just, okay, yeah, everybody's going to go to Raven. That's just what's going to happen. And you know what? I'm good with that because they kind of overly complicated some things. They've done that a little bit too much. Things are at least being fairly clear right now. They've actually gotten to the point where, something is happening and it in general makes sense. So that is good. Like, you can actually be a brain dead RWBY fan right now and be generally correct at this point, which is actually a good thing. Because a lot of shows, that's kind of all, you can always read deeper into things, but it's okay to only get the surface part of it and it still be good also. Like Avatar, there's a lot of...
Yeah, what's that Alfred Hitchcock quote? When people ask, like, what's your goal when making a movie? And he said, to put people through them.
Yeah.
I guess, we just did our Avatar podcast. Like, Avatar... everything makes sense. It's fucking brilliant, and there's also a lot of good, deeper meanings as well, and clever things you can think about. RWBY doesn't really have all that deeper stuff. It's just never going to. It's not good enough. But at least now you can just be a brain dead RWBY fan. It's like, oh, something interesting happened, and it was actually a good scene. Like, that's what we've gotten so far with these first 2 episodes. So I honestly want to say, and you can disagree, these are the best 2 first episodes we've had so far in a volume.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
And I'm happy about that. I think that's good. And it's the most promising direction we've had so far since Volume 4. But Volume 4, I'd still say this is even more so, because it's more is actually going to happen. And they're also they're keeping the characters consistent and the character progression consistent, besides Ostard, of course. But so we don't have to... Volume 4 was good mostly because of just character progression and things like that. That's really what it was good for. This we're getting, yeah, and Renor, of course. But that's part of character progression, really, and character background and all that. This, we're still getting enough of that in certain characters, plus we're actually getting plot points that are being clearly hinted at and explored. So, in that sense, just like with our Volume 4 podcast, it's like, oh yeah, this volume is better than the last volume. Like, I'm kind of saying that so far with this one, too, and I'm happy to be able to say that. As much as Oscar still sucks. Otherwise, and Blake still sucks. But you know what? They're just lost causes at this point. Everything else is looking pretty good.
I don't know about this being the strongest volume at the start. It's certainly way stronger than Volume 3 started off. And I don't know, Volume 1 had, like we said last podcast, Volume 1 had the best first episode.
Yeah.
But the second episode kind of got a little, all over the place. And then
I feel the
Volume 2, the first 2 episodes were pretty good. Volume 2 didn't start going off the rails until, episode 5.
But nothing was
and then it peaked with episode 6, and then after episode 6, everything just was awful. And then with Volume 3, it didn't even become passable until episode 6. And with Volume 4, Volume 4 had a pretty strong start too, and I don't know which one's stronger.
I would say between this one and Volume 4, it's close. I'd say it's. Yeah. I'm more excited about the direction right now.
We have a lot more. Yeah, we have a lot more going on, and we have a lot more clear idea of what all is going on. Whereas like last volume, we didn't even see Blake and Yang until episode 3. So
that's what's
that's a plus. That's a plus in this volume's favor, is that we at least got all 4 girls at the outset and be like, hey, this is where their plots are going. So
I feel the thing with this volume is that it's getting into gear pretty much right out of the bat. That's really the best way to put it.
Yeah, it's the only second episode and things have happened.
I just now had a thought. What if Winter is with the Bandit Clan?
Why?
Oh, that'd be cool.
Because I want her.
Undercover, or?
This is
undercover.
This is like CIA tier stuff where it's we're supporting the moderate rebels.
Maybe.
Some
she sees Ruby and she's she sees Weiss and she's like,
that's what the dust is for. They're just gonna airdrop it over the bandit camp.
yeah.
Oh man.
Because
That might be
we just
interesting.
we need to see Weiss and Winter interact this volume because that's what they were setting up with the Weiss trailer.
If we don't get
Or
any
maybe she
Weiss
does
and
find
Winter
out that they have
interaction,
Weiss, and she goes to Crow, and she's all like, "Help me get my sister."
I feel that if we don't get any Winter this volume, especially Weiss Winter interaction, it's going to be a
Bit of a letdown.
it's going to
Oh,
be a
that'll-
disservice to this volume.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it will. I still believe that. I still need Winter. Winter is dope. I love Winter, and I love Winter and Weiss together.
I need my Snowbird.
Exactly.
And Snowbird.
Okay, I think if anyone else has anything to say, speak your piece or
Yeah, I'm
speak
good.
now or forever hold your peace, but I think let's just wrap it up and we'll do it in the normal order that we normally do it in. So, media, you're on plate.
I did like this episode a lot. I do have my complaints and reservations about a lot of stuff, but none of it was really a deal breaker. I'm looking forward to next episode. I'm probably this was a lot. I like this episode a lot better than the last episode. That's really it. Yeah, I already said everything else.
All right, I just give me more. I want more. This next Saturday cannot come quick enough.
It cannot. It really cannot.
Yeah,
And if we get a hiatus because of this, which if we're gonna get a hiatus, we'll probably learn Wednesday,
Tuesday, I think.
whenever.
We're not gonna get a hiatus. We're not gonna get a hiatus until episode 7 because they claimed that they have all the first 7 episodes done. But the thing is, they just stopped writing the second half of the volume. So I'm saying we're gonna get like a month a month plus long hiatus after episode 7.
Just if you see us on Facebook, you'll just hear autistic screeching.
yes.
Just read.
And Tune's gonna be the one that bears the bad news when the inevitable hiatus comes.
Yep.
Yeah, our news correspondent Tune. Okay, it's dude's turn.
Yeah, I'd say it's a good episode. I like that it's better even than the first episode, which was a fairly solid episode as well. So they're on the right track. I like the direction they're going in general. And as much as Oscar and Blake still suck, you know what? They're just lost causes at this point, and I'm enjoying the rest of what's happening in the show so far. And this is definitely some of the most excited I've been for future episodes. I'm definitely the most interested in seeing what's going to happen with Weiss, because I don't know what her situation in the Bandit Clan is going to be and what exactly Raven's going to try to get out of her and how she's going to treat her. So that's the thing I'm most looking forward to seeing out of everything. Plus, when's Renor going to kiss? But other than that, I think the Weiss thing is like what I'm really like, because you don't really know what Raven's going to do with her and how she's going to treat her and what she's trying to get out of her. So that's what I'm most interested in.
All right, it is Sock's turn and then Robert.
Oh, you didn't? Oh, you're not going high power?
Oh, I did.
Oh, oops.
He wants MOA. He wants more MOAR.
Yeah, more. You want more? Yes, that's what I asked for. Thank you very much. But basically, I want Raven. I want to get more of Mama Salem because I've got a weird fetish, and you guys can't judge me for it. Y'all can't judge me. I want my body pillow. We're looking at you, Rooster Teeth.
Salem body pillow.
They don't give you a body pillow. They just give you a cringy fleece plushie that they made for Pyrrha.
Oh god, that was so cringy. That is creepy as shit, man.
No, none of that.
None of that, please.
No, none of that. I'm just sad inside now. But I'm kind of happy that I was at least picked up on the whole Weiss thing. I was like, oh, yes. But other than that, enjoyed the episode immensely. Salem's voice actor is so good. Sad about Sienna, but there is still hope. I'm still holding out some hope for that, and I'm still holding out hope for Blake's storyline in this little volume. But the fact that I have to compare it to presumably dead individual says a whole lot about it.
Yeah, that's true.
But other than that, I just like, as High Power says, I cannot wait for next Saturday. Yep. I want it now.
Yeah, pretty much Yeah, this was. I think that yeah, despite like the end of what could have been a good storyline, or what could have at least made a storyline better, I do think that this was a pretty decent episode. I hope that we can. I hope that we can that this doesn't become a pattern for us though, where every week the episode comes out something like there's that one thing that we all go, ah, this is so frustrating. Why did they do this? They're out of their minds, and then we like 2 hours later we go back and we're like, okay,
Does
it's not
that
that
does
bad.
that episode actually exist even at this point, going all the way back to the beginning? Does that
I don't
episode
think so.
exist?
But
Oh yes,
Because
I don't know.
there
I
is
hope they
one.
can.
There is one. Kurayuri had the terrible Ren voice actor.
Yeah, had his semblance going
Never
turning
mind.
Asian.
Yeah,
I mean,
never mind.
Heroes
we
and
won't be
Monsters
able
is
to
still
get that.
Heroes and Monsters is still the best episode of this series, and it has this stupid freaking velvet fight.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so I hope they can continue to iron out some of the issues and stuff like that. And yeah, I think that I don't know, to an extent I kind of agree that I think at this point Blake just needs to get her butt down to Mistral, and she just needs to yeah get back with the team, and you know stop doing her own, or I don't know, this kind of sounds bad, like she needs to become part of the main plot and like stop being a subplot and stuff like that, because right now that's really what she's felt like for a really long time.
Yeah.
And but I am like, this does still have me excited, and I look forward to seeing more and to seeing all and the consolation is there is always going to be fan art of Sienna Khan. I'm sure we're going to get plenty of that.
And she is going to be a
I
much bigger player in Ruby on Home going forward.
There we go.
Maybe
Yeah,
we'll get her in Chibi.
there we go.
Chibi Bengal Tiger, dope.
That'd be interesting, honestly.
Oh my god, Chibi Adam.
Oh,
I
no.
want Chibi Adam very much.
Oh, Chibi would be great.
I am the edge.
I just want him to be like have headphones and like have a My Chemical Romance.
If they do put her in Chibi, I want her to at one point say, "Call me Sienna."
No.
Just
No. No.
All right. Media's gonna.
Plugging?
I think we can. Yeah, plugging time.
Oh wait. See, now I just want to see Sienna Khan in like a fan art of Sienna Khan in like a froppy costume,
yes.
like got the goggles and everything.
Oh, I would love that.
Make it happen, internet.
There we go.
They will. They will. Don't totally make it happen. Rule 34 exists for a reason.
This is right.
Hey, this is a Christian podcast. We can't mention that.
Oh man.
Don't lie like that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So if you liked this podcast and you want to hear more, like, comment, and subscribe. We're starting to do 2 podcasts every week, a RWBY podcast and a Beyond podcast. And this week's Beyond podcast, which you will see probably like tomorrow from when you're, or 2 days from now from when you're watching this, is we're going to start a Star Wars series of podcasts.
I promise.
And we record these on Sundays. This will go out on Tuesday when the episode goes public to everyone. And then we record our Beyond podcast on Wednesday nights, and they'll usually go up like Thursday morning. You'll also have my review of the episode coming out whenever I get it done. This one's going to be pretty short. I think I recorded it already. I have like 7 minutes of audio to go through, which means that the review itself is probably only going to be like 4 minutes. Because that's how I roll. You can also check out my fan fiction, Ruby on Home. I'm trying to do like 2 chapters a week in that. I still have like a couple chapters backlog, but I'm kind of catching up, so catching up with myself. You can also check out Guardians of Terra. If people actually start reading that, I might be inclined to keep that one going. Instead of just leaving it off on the big cliffhanger I left it off on. But also check out the Facebook page, Ruby and Beyond. And from there you can get a hold of our Discord. Other than that, yeah, that's about all I have.
Join the Discord so you can get in on some of these conversations. Not saying you'll be on the podcast, but just to have more active voice posters.
Come to our Discord. We have loot.
We
Yes,
do.
we
That's,
do.
That is,
We
that
have
is a thing.
loot.
Check
That
it
is
out,
true.
yeah.
And many memes.
Many memes.
Many
Lots and
memes.
lots of memes.
Some of
Well-
them made by yours truly.
And
As
us,
as video thumbnails.
and us 5 fucks.
Yeah. And but yeah, outside of that, I think we can shut it down.
Everybody else? Everybody
Yep,
else
I'm
said
good.
their piece?
Yep.
Nothing new to plug.
I'm holding my piece right now. Don't you see?
Alright. Have a good day. And thank you
Later.
all for watching, trying to get it right at the 2 hour mark.